because we now have King Charles III. I therefore request the gentleman to come forward and present to the August House. Thank you so much.
Distinguished members of the Council, the Kampala District Executive Committee, ladies and gentlemen, a good afternoon to you all. Standing before you here is Kabeza Patience Pathias, the Chairperson, Students' Council, Eagles Nest Secondary School. It's an honor and privilege to stand before you contesting on the esteemed position of Speaker, a position that I feel has great value to the workings of the students' community in our district. Not only is this position one of the key aspects as far as students' leadership is concerned in the district, it's also a paramount position as far as making our district a visible and a model district at large. Well, I've been requested to give part of my manifesto, but I've been limited to a few in the interest of time. I believe as a leader, you should be innovative. And when you're innovative, you lead the masses to the objectives and aspirations that we all want to see in our district. One of the things that I intend and I truly aspire to see working in our district is mobilizing the private institutions, that I mean secondary schools that are not part of the government-aided schools, to be part and parcel of the activities and programs of UNSA. We all know, for some of us who have been on ground, we know the potential of our district. We know where our district has potential, and we also know the challenges that we face. And it is from that end that I intend to see our district having very many vibrant schools participating in UNSA activities. For example, the legacy that has been left and is still ongoing by the District Executive Committee and also the Kampala Secretariat is something that we should all emulate, and that is something that I intend to put force and power to see that private schools apply and also be part of the district that we all want to see. It is true that private schools are part of Kampala district as far as UNSA is concerned, but we need to see more schools as far as having councils, and that calls for a person who's ready to mobilize, a person who's ready to go in and tell the masses what is really UNSA doing for everyone as far as students' leadership is concerned. Secondly, as the theme for today, which is the role of student leaders in promoting national development and democracy, it is paramount to see that all the students are part of the development scheme because, well, we hold stake in the development and we are stakeholders in the development of our country. And that cause that we are part of the economic policies, we are part of the social policies and political policies. And that calls for us also to be clear with a vision of seeing our environment having an environment that is ready, an environment that is, we need to see an environment that will be able to generate resources for the coming years. That is as far as having clean air and also having clean water and etc. Well, you might think that is far-fetched because we are talking about climate, we are talking about environment. But as students, we live in the communities, we live in the environment, and so there is no way you would introduce these aspects to the country without passing through the students' community. Like Nelson Mandela did allude, that education is an important tool to change the world. Without it, you cannot have a transformative generation. If we are to change the generation of Uganda, if we are to change the generation of Kampala, we need a students' leadership that is trainers for the trainees, that is going to see everyone ready to work for the environment as far as tackling global climate change is concerned. It's very paramount to me. And that is something that I intend to introduce gradually with the other members that you people will give the votes to. For example, there are very many ways that we can have UNSA's visibility and awareness in all communities, and also not just for the Kampala district, but also for the institutions that lie in. The only way we can do that is not only being on the deck, but it's also going deep, rather going on ground to see what is necessary. What are the challenges that these people are facing? That's when these people will feel the impact of UNSA. Otherwise, without that, people will think that we have the Kampala District Executive without the workings. But if we are on ground, we know what the students are facing, we listen to them, we work with them, and surely make that their opinions are heard and addressed. That's when we are going to have a district that is a model district, a district that is exemplary to all, a district that will see our capital city an example to even the whole region. Well, as I conclude, I want to say that the students' community that we intend to serve is not only part and parcel of the dreams and aspirations that I have, but it is also blood that flows in my veins, and I intend to see that your aspirations, your ideas, your opinions are heard and addressed. I thank you so much. I remain Kabeza Patience, the Chairperson, Students' Council, Eagles Nest Secondary School, the aspirant for the speakership.
And one of the things you want to do is calling out for mobilization within private institutions. However, I want to bring to your attention that some of these private institutions have been shunning the institution of UNSA because of the subscription fees. So, in your talk or mobilization of these institutions, having that in mind, how do you intend to address that?
Well, it is very true that since 2010, all students pay 2,000 shillings per head. That means that is the money that is supposed to be used in all activities that UNSA is supposed to be working on as the council delegates. Well, one of the reasons that I think that these private institutions are not adhering to the 2,000 shillings which every student must pay is because they feel like their institutions are not part of the organization. They feel like this is something for the government schools only, and they feel like there is no chance for them to participate. And that is something that I want to demystify. It is only with that we shall have all these schools, after truly mobilizing and truly speaking with all these stakeholders, telling them why it's important to train leaders in our community, why it's important that these leaders are trained and they are able also to train their fellow students at school, that they will be able to pay that 2,000 shillings that was introduced in 2010. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. One last question. You talk about climate change and you talk about all the global issues. And I also see the vision of UNSA is to be the leading and most vibrant students' organization in the world. Don't you think that bringing in the issue of climate change before we have actually realized total solutions for the challenges that are facing the students is a far-fetched idea?
Well, I believe climate change is something that affects us, not only the students, but also other people that we live with in the society. If I go to the global stage, the global south, I mean sub-Saharan Africa, we face challenges of climate change. And well, you might say that these are not affecting students, but I want to tell you that these are the reasons as to why people are not able to come to school early, people are not able to go to school with the necessary atmosphere. I mean the good air that we breathe in, because it is necessary as a student. But UNSA's, one of the objectives of UNSA is to produce well-disciplined and students who are able to cater for themselves in the future. And if it is that so, we need to have students in the future who have had the knowledge, who have had the awareness of what they need to tackle in the society, and that is climate change. Because after senior 6, after senior 4, these are people that are going to go in the society, and the environment will affect them. But with the knowledge that we will have equipped with them, they will be able to tackle everything that is affecting their society. Because we are looking at this as a greater patriotic stance to make sure that our country is good, is well in terms of climate, and also in terms of protecting the environment. Thank you.
Members of the Students' Council, District Executive Committee members, and everyone here else present, good afternoon. I'm mostly honored to be here before you. My name is Cynthia Lamaro. I am the A-level representative of the Green Hill Academy Secondary School Chibuli Students' Council. I am contesting for the post of Speaker. I've been honored with the opportunity of presenting a manifesto and exactly show you the plans that I have for the District Executive Committee if then given the mandate. First and foremost, UNSA primarily has an objective of being the leading and most vibrant students organization in the world. Understand that one, this is despite of the fact of whether you're a student or a student leader or necessarily just a member of UNSA. It is important to understand that even from that very level, there is so much you can impact. The bigger impact then comes when you are a leader. Question then comes in, what am I going to impact, or which type of impacts am I going to bring in? Notice that one, as presented by Mr. Isaac, the District Executive Committee of Kampala has done a very beautiful job of making Kampala actually the image that is, the model image that is. Question is then, what happens when the current District Executive Committee then steps down? One, it is left up to a competent person to then necessarily take up that torch and make sure that Kampala remains the model image. How am I going to do that? One, integration. Two, individuality. Three, behavior change. Integration. Understand that UNSA, or if you're to look at the UNSA that we have right now, we do have a number of schools that are actually members of UNSA. Number of schools that are members of UNSA because they're expected to be members of UNSA. And a number of very many schools that are skeptical about what UNSA then can bring. This is why we have Green Hill Academy participating in these elections for the first time, yet you have had a student council since 2010, right? Understand that this then becomes because people do not necessarily understand, because certain people are not represented. How am I going to make sure that there is that level of integration? Simple. I'm from a school that once did not understand or did not know to what level UNSA actually impacted. I did not get information. My former school did not have a student council, but I have been able to grow and understand exactly what UNSA does. As I speak right now, I am on UNSA scholarship. That means that I know where the 200 shillings for registration of per head of students actually goes. That can only happen that can only mean that since I have moved from that level of ignorance to actually a certain level of understanding, I can be able to integrate and actually involve many people. Individuality. We can only involve these people if you're actually doing things on ourselves. We can only be able to convince girls or particular people if you're only doing things that. This means that if you're talking about things like menstrual hygiene, if you're talking about things like climate change, if you're talking about things like involving UNSA activities, we can only do that if we do that on ourselves. If given the mandate, I'll make sure I can continue. I'll be given a wider scope and a bigger platform to actually do these things. Notice that even without the post of speaker, I have been able to actually integrate and engage in these UNSA activities. That means that I can and I have been able to show people that they do not necessarily need to come from a certain school to actually be part of UNSA. How have I done this? Involving in debate. Two, involving in the particular things they have been showing. That can only happen, or I can only make this particular level of integration or involve these people because I have attained a certain level of individuality. Two, testament. A speaker is basically the engine of what holds the District Executive Committee, right? That means that I am supposed to be able to actually guide and lead these people and make sure we achieve what you have to do. Saying that UNSA has not achieved or has not reached a certain level of achievement would be an understatement, because notice that Kampala is the model district. Kampala is the face. My biggest manifesto is to make sure we maintain that image, make sure Kampala remains the face of Uganda. We struggle for liberation, for God and my country.
It's Cynthia? Yes, thank you so much, Cynthia. Cynthia, you seem to be comfortable with what the DEC, the outgoing DEC, has done. And I heard you talk about the issues of menstrual hygiene among the girls. the precurrent speaker just said that we need to be innovative. What new innovations will you bring in place to tackle issues around menstrual hygiene for the girls?
You see, the problem is not innovation. Innovation has been there. But what the problem then comes is people embracing the innovation. Girls are not going to use reusable pads if they do not get to be nurtured into that type of embracing the innovation. How am I supposed to do that? Be an example myself. Innovations are there. The new curriculum in and itself fosters for that. Teachers have gone out of the way to teach. This is why we had the new curriculum in place in the first place. The problem comes in with embracing innovation. That's why you need someone to go into ground level. That's why I talked about individuality and behavior change for integration in the first place.
Okay, thank you so much. Well done. We just now have another 30 seconds, and then we can welcome the chairpersons to give us their manifestos. The purpose of this is for us to be sure that the people that are here know why they actually came here, isn't it? We want to be sure that we have leaders who know what they are going to do and who will actually serve. We said it is now men first. Yes, men first. So, gentlemen, you ready? Okay. 30 seconds, then you can begin. You have 5 minutes uninterrupted, and then you have 3 minutes of interrupted time where we ask questions. Thank you.
I'm Samuel Kevin from Divine High School. I do history entrepreneurship in Uganda. Currently, I'm the chairperson, Students' Council. I'm not only holding that position, but I'm still the General Secretary of Scripture Union. I work in Harris International, and I'm the Assistant Supervisor, welfare of the constructors. But still, I work in agri-exim. So the reason why I am standing in for this post, I wanted to share my economic idea, my economic experience that I have in my working life experience to the students. So, among the things that I won't call it a manifesto, but I have things that I've put emphasis on that I want to work upon. First on the list is economic independence within us leaders. I'll try to be brief as possible for the benefit of time. Economic independence within us leaders. Where, when, and what to do. In this economic independence within us leaders, Mr. Chizito shared that one of the colleagues in UNSA was he chairperson, the former vice chairperson at the DEC, was almost dropped out from school due to the school fees due. But in Divine, we have a student leaders project that's making of cakes. I think my Secretary of Finance can testify that. But still, establishing these projects, of councillors, we have gone an extra mile ahead. We have invested in stocks. Apart from helped us, we are investing in stocks. We invested in MTN stocks. So this is the economic independence within us leaders that I want to drive to the whole students leaders fraternity in Kampala as in general. So I intend to work with my regime, the speaker, together with my Secretary of Finance, to see that each school in Kampala establishes a business project under a council body. So I want to give much details, but I know what I work will testify why I'm here. So another thing is about also advocating or mobilizing is not enough. It's about creating more awareness about UNSA, but still. I heard from Right Honorable Patience, mobilization to me it's not enough. I intend to create a systematic path. I intend to create a vessel. I intend to create something that at least from the school level, at least chairperson from different schools can create at least a monthly report within 3 or 2 months. Can create a report on how students' councils are performing. Currently, I've traveled around 26 schools in Kampala, and someone might ask me, "How have you did this?" I have money. Yes, I have money. Yes. So I have traveled to around 26 schools. 26 schools, I have only found 21 having students council. 21 schools. So you can imagine. So I've been once, like Mr. Chisto has explained to you, I've been once, not only once, thrice, just out from different offices of two headmasters and one headmistress. They chased me out of their office. So I intend to create a systematic path on how these students chairpersons can show the progress of how these students council are performing in their schools. This will create more awareness about the students council. But in general, at the national level, I hope students in different districts will at least get inspired. Headmasters, directors of different schools will get inspired to create this students council in different schools. So that's one of my objectives. Another one, I intend to work I want to leave the disadvantaged students in different schools. I realize that most of our colleagues in different schools would like to continue with academics. Some of them drop out from senior 4, others even not finishing the. Okay, 30 seconds left. Okay, so I intend to lob out more bursaries, scholarships for my fellow students leaders, but not to the counselors, to the students. Students who are disadvantaged, who lack scholastic materials in their daily life, I intend to work them, collaborate, share with the different NGOs, the government organization, to see how we can help, lobby bursaries, scholarships, scholastic materials for such students. Another issue, I think, for the benefit of TAIF, I'll leave it out. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes. The first point in your manifesto, you said you want to make sure that there is a level of economic independence among the students. But I was just wondering, how will students manage academics and business at the same time? What method are you having in mind for that?
About that economic independence, it's a very sensitive thing, that to engage students in business at the same time line is very difficult. But at Divine we did it. With every week on Sunday, my finance secretary will testify. Every week on Sunday we make half cakes. But still, these days Monday they sell them. Then the next day the next Friday, next Sunday they make then they have cakes. I think I don't understanding. I do Uganda. I'm not good in literature, but I think you are getting it. So we make half cakes I would say periodically. So our patron, since our patron is the overall head of our council, who he helps us in counseling guidance. He helps us to invest in stocks. That I had it in my mind to expose it to my fellow councillors, but I realized that I don't have time. So I collaborate with my patron to see that we invest in stocks. We invest in stocks in MTN. The money that we got, the money that the councillors get in their business, it doesn't go in their pockets directly. It goes in the stock company. And I'm expecting by the end of December we are going to get our interest more than what we expected. So still I would like to add on something. Last time okay.
Okay. My colleague has a question for you.
Thank you so much. In your speech, you said you want to create a systematic path. And in that systematic path, you said you want to look out for disadvantaged students and you need to give them some help. Maybe you lobby for bursaries.
I think a systematic path that shows how students' councils are performing. Because I will give an example of university. They have a students' council, but it's not performing.
So what new innovation do you want to put there so that those councils are performing?
A report must be made after every 3 months. A report must be made after every 3 months to show the performance, the challenges, what new ideas do these chairpersons have for our council at the district level to boom. I just think we have got what I
Okay, sure. Thank you so much. You can clap hands for him. Can have your seat. Okay, may we have the next candidate for chairpersonship.
A good evening to you all. My name is Mganga Kenny. I'm the chairperson, St. Andrew Kagwagombe High School, yet aspiring for the post of chairperson, Kampala City Executive Committee. I thank UNSA and the pioneers at DEC for organizing this debate, helping us air out our manifestos and sharing ideas as leaders. We are not after debates, we are sharing ideas. You get? So, starting with my manifesto, my main idea and forum, I'm about revaluing UNSA, like revaluing UNSA. What do I mean by revaluing UNSA? I think UNSA has lost value at a certain point because it has diverted from its main objectives and missions. If we are to reflect from the preamble of the UNSA Constitution as amended by the 32nd National Students' Council at UCU in July, the 2nd of July, 2022, those who have constitutions, you can check. The first paragraph. We, representatives of students from post-primary institutions, assembled in this hall at UCU, Mukono, on the 2nd day of July 2022, and fully representing the entire will and noble aspirations of student leaders who formed the UNSA on the 16th day of December 1988, and of all students. Of all students. Do you get that point? By the manner of our democratic values and practices. What do we reflect from that? Muganga Kenny is after bringing up and revaluing the will and noble aspirations of our predecessors, our people who formed UNSA in 1988. More so, if you check in the 5th paragraph of the preamble, it's about commitment. To fight, commitment to the fight against oppression, injustice, and exploitation of Africans wherever they are, and the conscious of the moral obligation to give our solidarity, brother, as you see. What do I mean by injustice? Injustice is there justice if one pays school fees from senior 1 to senior 4 second term, and that student fails to raise school fees for 3rd term, and they deliberately fail to do their national examinations? Is there really justice? That's why, Muganga Kenny, I'm standing before you and all students in Kampala as a district to fight for that. I'm fighting for the for the will and noble aspirations of our founders. More so, Muganga Kenny is interested in the support of fighting for freedom of students in Kampala. I don't mean a gun war fighting. No. What as we students, we are fighting for freedom. We are fighting for the students' rights. We call that freedom of students. Students' rights. Which students' rights are we fighting for? To attain education. To attain education. In attaining education, some of our fellow students don't attain education, not because they don't want. Nah. The main reason as why they don't attain education, they fail to raise fees, the school fees, in different particular schools. Muganga Kenny is interested in negotiating with the government because in 2008, UNSA amended this constitution. And in Act 30, UNSA is put under the arm of government containing all post-primary schools. So we as student leaders Muganga Kenny is interested in negotiating with the government because I can't manage alone. I request for 1 minute more. I can't do it alone, no. But I negotiate with the government to put up or to increase on the loan scheme for the students to study. More so, to increase on the number of government scholarships. Just calculate the number of students in Kampala here in secondary schools, those who are going to leave for senior 4 and senior 6. If we increase the number of government scholarships, we are going to get more students joining the universities, those who can fail to join university because of tuition. As I'm finalizing, I'm talking about the point of students with disabilities. Muganga Kenny is interested in supporting students with disabilities in Kampala as a city. How? By negotiating with the government to set up facilities in these schools in order to enable these students attain class, because most of the schools have flats. They can't go up, those who are disabled. But if the government puts there a law that each school has to have a facility for the disabled students, Kampala will be the best district in Uganda. I thank you all, and thank you for God and my country, struggle for liberation.
Okay, thank you so much. You sound like a young Kaguta. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. But nevertheless, you just said that one of your key objectives is to make sure that you give UNSA its value back. You're revaluing UNSA. And you just mentioned that UNSA has deviated from its main objectives. I request that you get your constitution and you check objective 1 and 3. You read them for us and show us how the body has deviated from these objectives. That will be my only question to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, objective 1 reads, to guide and support all students of Uganda in the promotion of their academic pursuits and the achievement of successful careers. Then objective 2 is to foster.
You read the objective and show how the body has deviated from the objective.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, because there are over 12 objectives. The body has not deviated from all the objectives. No. What I meant by deviating from the original objectives. 1, most people have joined UNSA not to promote its objectives, but some people are after getting some money out of it. And others are getting like transport refunds out of UNSA as an organization. But most of the objectives have been fulfilled by our alumni of UNSA. And I thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that. And one last question, since you have tried to... you talk about the freedom of students in Kampala. You say you want to increase the freedom of students. Whenever you talk about the issue of freedom, it's as if you are going to actually cause a strike. So just elaborate how you use your office as a chairperson to increase the freedoms of students in Kampala. Thank you.
Thank you. I earlier explained about the freedoms I was meaning. Freedoms, I was not meaning like we students have to relax. No, the freedoms of students are only 2. 1, to attain education. That's our main objective and freedom. If we attain education, then we get the freedom. The second freedom is to sit for final exams. There are 2 different things. Attaining education and sitting for exams, for final exams. If you started from senior 1 to senior 5 and you failed to senior 6, then you have done nothing. So my main objective is to fight for those freedoms. Every student in Kampala to complete their different levels. That's why I call upon the government, and Muganga Kenny is interested in negotiating with the government. 1, to increase the loan scheme. Those who know the loan scheme of the government, you know. 2, to increase on the number of government scholarships. So that's most people, most students that complete senior 6, complete senior 4 can join those tertiary institutions or universities for further studies. Thank you.
Okay, since Muganga Kenny, you have attracted attention, so you'll get your last question and then you go.
Thank you so much, Muganga Ken. In your manifesto, you talked about negotiating with the government. And I happen to be one of the students who studied on loan scheme. And it started in 2014. But now in 2023, it has been halted until further notice. I am among the students who fought for it, that it should be revived so that students can study at the university level. So currently it is halted, and we are not sure when it will be brought back. So how are you going to do it so that it is reinstated in higher institutions of learning? And secondly, you are still in high school, and the loan scheme applies at the university. How are you going to do it?
Thank you so much for that nice question. The loan scheme, per now, it is paused, right? But he's fighting it alone with some few members. But if I add my voice as the chairperson of Kampala District Executive Committee, remember we are under Uganda National Students Association. You get the point? We are going to raise our voice to the government. They gave us a chance. We are in the Constitution, Act 30. So if you get that chance and raise our voice, we as students, the opportunity is before us. So we can plead for it. Thank you so much. We struggle for liberation, for God and my country.
Okay, thank you so much, Muganga Kenny. I hope that...
My name is Okiror Jerry, and I am from Chambogo College School, where I am the incumbent chairperson of the Students' Council. I want to thank you all for honoring this invitation, because today we gather from different walks of life, united by a common cause, to serve, and to serve above self. Now, there's one thing I'm quite sure about leadership. The hallmark of great leadership is transformative, changing the lives of those we serve. The dawn of a new leadership for Kampala District Executive Committee has emerged as the sun sets on the one that is actually outgoing. During the tenure of the new leadership, there are a number of objectives we want to materialize so that we can struggle or further advance the cause as to why this institution was established as we struggle for liberation. One, the first objective of the UNSA Constitution states that it will do all it can to promote, support, and enhance academic pursuits of students and ensure that they are successful in their venture in doing so. How are we going to actually materialize that objective? During our tenure, we're going to ensure that every student who is a candidate right now in Form 4, in Form 6, if they cannot afford to pay subscription fees to UNEB, we're going to actually create up a scheme, a project to lobby funds for them because they have to sit, most especially Senior 4. This is their last term to sit. If they do not sit this time around, it's over for them. They go back to Senior 1. But furthermore, we're going to deviate from the objectives of UNSA. I'm actually proposing that this be included because there's one thing I've also come to realize with my team. In the current Uganda, education alone is not enough to guarantee a bright future. That is why this term of office, this leadership, must also advocate that it must facilitate students' talents, advance them, be it basketball, soccer, dancing. That gift you have, it can take you somewhere. It will take you places. I think she's a witness. Debate has taken her so far. And there are students whose strongholds is in talent. We must also advance that cause. Another thing that we're going to look at during our tenure in office, that is if we make it, yes? I want to do something for our country, yes? I want to pose a question. Do not ask what your country has done for you, but ask yourself, what have you done for your country? You see, we're all student leaders. There's one thing I want to question you. During our time as leaders, we have to do something for our state. This is our country. How are we going to do that? We're going to do so by engaging in community projects, yes? By engaging into activities where we can actually assess the efficacy of the government. In doing so, we are creating accountability and we're fostering national development. Another thing we're going to look at, the number of issues we're actually going to address during our tenure in office. Another issue that came across me, of course with consultation with the people I've been working with, the knowledge of this constitution. Ignorance is a big challenge, as you know, yes? The challenge isn't a challenge. The challenge is ignorance. So we have to address an issue. We're going to actually enhance on how much people know about UNSA. Because when we know the systems and how to go about them, we're going to actually reduce these revolts, these student grievances. We're going to sensitize people, their mechanisms on how they can have their issues handled. How? Through us, the body, the governing body. Another thing we're going to work with, we're going to also encourage accountability and transparency in leaders. Because if we do so, we're going to ensure that we can hold all those in offices accountable on what their mandate is. Of course, with those few remarks, I guess I submit.
Okay, thank you so much. You have finished in time. Now, you have just said that education alone is not a guarantee to a bright future. I just want you to tell us the ministry under which UNSA belongs. The name of the ministry.
UNSA is under the docket of the Ministry of Education and Sports.
Okay. It is under the Ministry of Education and Sports. And you said that we need to have the development of talents and skills and many other avenues apart from education. Don't you think that those who got sports and combined them with the Ministry of Education had it in mind that going to class alone cannot solve the problems of today's youth?
With all due respect, yes, I have experience in institution management. We can draft policies on paper, but what is actually on ground? The results are going to justify what we're speculating about. If it be so that the ministry is saying that we're going to foster talent and development in words, what is actually on ground? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. And what we go more into, we look at the objectives of what this constitution says. If it had a provision for talent, it would be clearly stipulated there that we're going to advance talent. But once you read the first objective, it is clearly on academic pursuits and to ensure that they are successful in doing so. So one, I want to emphasize that even those with talent, there should be more emphasis. I want to put a task ahead. In this deck, or in the predecessor's deck, how many outreach programs have been there that are tangible, where we can actually say they have been fostering talent development? We can say such and such a number of people are here in this place because of talent by UNSA. That's what my question is. Is there any group that has done so?
Thank you so much for that good answer. Maybe one last question from me, unless my team here has any question. Encouraging accountability and transparency. I find this a very hard issue for students to hold fellow students accountable. So how do you intend to be a leader with a difference?
For one to be held accountable, there must be information on how activities have been run. If, take for example, you have been given 6 billion shillings to run an institution and it's on paper, you have been contracted, you've given money. When we see the accounts, the financial sheets or the financial documents on how each of these figures was spent, we can account or track how was this moving. If as a student leader you've lobbied for funds that were going to actually foster an outreach program that is going to enhance talent, we need 20 million Ugandan shillings to do so. And we have these contractors. If as UNSA, those financial documents are laid out in the open for people to scrutinize, we can actually ensure transparency, because people are going to have access to information which they can use to help hold these organizations accountable. And one, we're going to also create mechanisms to sensitize people on how to approach this matter. Sometimes we have grievances, but we don't know how to address them. If, for example, you have been abused sexually, especially by our girls, if they're not sensitized, this is the approach to do it. They might stay there trying to look for someone who can hold these people accountable. But if we teach them this is the process, how you can hold someone accountable, we're going to enhance accountability and transparency.
Okay, as you go to sit, I find that you're not ready to involve stakeholders. You want to do it yourself. Nevertheless, you can have a seat, sir.
I thank the Almighty for all countless bounties He has given us in life. Protocol observed. I'm Hanifa Yusuf Mundur from Mariam High School, aspiring for the post of Chairperson, Executive Committee, UNSA. I'm self-reflective and I'm determined for this post. I'm so ambitious for it, and that's why I've come up to stand for it. There are very many things I wanted to put across, but with the interest of time, I will have to mention a few, and I hope it all works for me. When I'm given the chance for this, there are very many things I want to put across. First is accessibility, engagement, and then accountability. If I'm to talk about accessibility, I think it's something that most of us have to be aware of. Accessibility, for example, most of the schools are not aware of the Students' Council. And the Students' Council is something, it's the heart of the school. Though it hasn't been there in some moments in the past years, let me say in my school, but at the moment I can proudly say it has helped a lot, because I believe the Students' Council, it's, let me say in my school, according to us, we had to put up the Students' Council because there was need. People were going through a lot. Most of the people needed advice. And there is one thing I wanted to ensure in most schools. It's to ensure there will be a mentor department that each student can access. For example, the counselors in each school. I can proudly say in my school, there is a Students' Council whereby a counselor comes every Wednesday and each student is addressed about every mental issue they are facing at school. And that's the same. I would want to put it across in other schools, because I believe most students, they need to be mentored and they go through a lot but in silence. Therefore, I would want to put my voice across that we can do that together. And if at all I pass through, I would want to put that on board. Then one thing I would want to put across is I would want to encourage participation amongst the different schools in different activities. Most of us, we don't know how a school can be vibrant. One of the main reasons that can cause strikes in school is because people lack what to do. The LGBTQ, people lack what to do. Theft in schools, it's because people lack what to do. But if they are to engage themselves in different activities, I believe we can try to make a vibrant school where everyone will be interested in studying. And with that, I think it's important. And the activities I mean, it's not only academics. I'm talking about sports and then clubs. The UNSA body, I believe it bringing up the executive committee for schools, the council for schools, is going to do a lot, because in my school, the executive committee, it's, how do I say it? It makes a meeting whereby each student is supposed to involve themselves in any activity, and each of them that is not involved in any activity, maybe you give them any punishment that can match out the thing they've done. Then Another thing I would want to put across is the welfare of the students. Welfare is one thing that matters a lot in every school. And when I talk about is anything that goes wrong in that, it's going to cause chaos in school, which is not good. And that's one of the main reasons as to why the UNSA body is at school. Because it has to make sure the school is always at stake and it follows the policies that it puts across. For example, I come to a school, when my school is facing a lot, the teachers don't know more about it, and it's me who knows more about it, so I'll have to engage myself with the students so that I can know more about their issues they're facing and take address. With a few words, I would want to say thank you, and that could be enough for right now until you listen to my manifesto. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I see you want to introduce, let's say, clubs or an office for counseling and for dealing with issues about mental health. Is that right? A quick one. Apart from being idle, what could be the other issues that lead to mental health or depression among young people in your school?
Actually, in my school is a girls' school, so girls really go through a lot in relationship issues. For example, friendship, that's one of the main reasons that girls they try to mess around. That's one of the main reasons. But then academics can also try to stress up someone, and they try to think of a lot of different things, but once you sit that person down and you're to talk to them, there will be a great change.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that you know some of the reasons of the problem that you want to solve. And then lastly, just remind us of the motto of Uganda National Students Association, as my colleague gives you the other question. Remind us of our motto.
We struggle for liberation.
Thank you so much. In your speech, you said that at your school, you have a counselor who comes every Wednesday. Is it true?
Yeah.
And you said you want to introduce that to each school in Kampala. And I guess when that counselor comes to your school is paid.
Yeah.
And in UNSA, there is no money to pay counselors. How are you going to do it? Or how will they pay the counselors to move to all the schools on Wednesday?
Actually, when the council is to come to a school to address, it's for the benefit of the students. So once there is a council body, the council body is supposed to enable the activities run in a proper way. So there are high chances whereby if you see there is need, maybe if the school is not that stable, you can do that twice in a month at least, and that can be done by the students too. Each class can at least mobilize themselves to collect at least 1K per student. That can be enough to facilitate a counselor. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. You can clap hands for her. Okay. I'm told there are 5 candidates for chairpersonship. Is that right?
You as the Right Honorable Speaker, in case you are the Right Honorable Speaker of Kampala, we always face challenges with the subscription. And if I'm to look at the candidates who are here, only 2 can qualify if it comes to subscription. What will you do as the Speaker to enforce that?
Thank you. Well, earlier I was talking about the issue of mobilizing resources so that the activities of UNSA, as far as Kampala District Executive Committee is concerned. And to meet, I came to the realization that one of the reasons as to why people are not subscribing, or schools are not subscribing, especially private institutions, is because really they lack some information about the importance of leaders, and also the activities that take place at UNSA. Because these activities that the District Executive Committee tasks the Secretariat to manifest helps the students and also the leaders to become better versions of themselves, and also to create patriotic students and citizens of Uganda. So, coming back to your question, I would think that a better way of making sure that all schools subscribe, because really we need funds to operate the activities of UNSA, it would be actively and being on ground to mobilize the resources by showing the importance of the activities that take place at UNSA, because without the awareness, people will not be able to subscribe. Thank you.
The second question goes to the Right Honorable Speaker Amaro. In Kampala, we have 5 divisions. You were a student. Doing which combination?
Math, economics, entrepreneurship, subsidiary ICC.
How will you manage to balance leadership with the academics in the 5 divisions?
I think that's almost the easiest question anyone could ask. A leader is a student first. That's why I'm a student leader. For me to be able to integrate and individualize and cause a behavior change, which is entirely my manifesto, I have to represent first. That means that I have to be able to do what I do at school best, to be able to impact people out there, to impact girls out there. There's a female speaker, she's doing mathematics, and she's passing. So one, getting rid of biases. How am I going to be able to balance? One of the best and the most important qualities of a leader is balancing, the ability to morph into a situation. When I am at school, I am not Speaker UNSA. I am Lamaro Cynthia. I do mathematics, economics, entrepreneurship. When I step out, I am Speaker of UNSA. I'm Speaker who passes exams. I'm Speaker who represents in debate. I'm a Speaker who does essay writing competition. I'm a Speaker who is a student first, and because I'm a student first and I'm able to impact as a student, I can then be able to impact the divisions you talk of. There's no way I can do that without balancing myself first.
Thank you. The last question goes to all the 2 candidates. Now, all of you are students from your schools. Some schools, they have different categories of administration in their roles and regulations. What if some roles push students to the wall and they need your help? What will you do? Will you mobilize them to demonstrate? What will you do, you as the Speaker of the country's capital city? The administration is pushing the students to the wall. They are mistreating them. What will you do as the Speaker? Start with you.
Thank you. One of the reasons as to why the Uganda National Students Association was formed was to curb the strikes in schools. These strikes were at an increment in the times of 1980s and before. Before UNSA was called NUSU, and also that was the same issue that was affecting all schools. Well, if at all that issue happens to come to my school, well, it wouldn't have been the first time, because as an individual I have experience in conflict resolution. When I say conflict resolution, I mean finding the best dialogue and finding the best solutions so that everyone feels heard and everyone's ideas and opinions are addressed. To that effect, if at all my school administration is bringing policies that will directly affect the students that I serve, I'll have directly to also sit with the administration, tell them the concerns of my students, at the same time, communicate to the students about the policies and the way we can solve the solutions. Well, I believe as UNSA, we have very many hands to help us. Because one of the reasons we have the Kampala District Executive Committee is also to have people who will be able to come and tap into the challenges that we are facing and get us solutions. If at all I'm not able to get the solutions to that, we have the District Executive Committee, we have the Secretariat. These are the people who are in place to see that strikes are not happening in schools. These are people that are there to see that students' concerns are heard and addressed. So there are very many ways and various ways of addressing this issue, and I think one of them is having a meaningful dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think first of all we need to understand me being speaker does not mean I'm the only leader. I might not be as smart as Chizito and say that there's a bus coming anytime soon to stop strikes. But I think first of all, from an informed point of view, strikes are evident and the impacts of strikes are actually adverse. You can see that in West Nile, right? So basically, I'm not speaker alone. I have an entire body working with me. That means that one, we can go and actually do this. One thing we need to understand about school administrations that love to assert is that they want to maintain the image. That's why they assert in the first place. At a point in time where I, together with my executive committee, are able to show that these policies do not only affect the students in a negative way, but also affect the school administration and taint the image they're trying to so much to maintain by asserting this policy in the first place, I think beyond reasonable doubt, we can do away with this. Give them what they want. What they want is a good image. What they want is to assert. They can't do that when students are striking. If you can be able to show that these particular things actually would lead to students striking, we think beyond reasonable doubt, we can do away with those policies. How do we do that? Being informed, working together. Again, I am not speaker alone. I have an entire committee.
Thank you. I think this is the last one for you. You know, Kampala, we have schools of different categories. For you are from Green Hill Academy. For you are from Eagle's Nest. Schools, sometimes they undermine students from different schools. You are the speaker. Mengo Senior School, they have a challenge. And they don't respect students from Green Hill Academy. Which ideas do you have to make sure that at least Mengo Senior School can respect you? Are they hard questions?
Not hard at all. I've said this countless times. I am not speaker alone. I have an entire committee. That means that possibly somewhere, somehow, there is someone with God's grace of Mengo on my committee. Even then, Mengo has a chairperson students council. I did not find it very hard for them to not work with me. Even then, they don't respect me. It's not only Green Hill Academy on executive committee. Maybe they respect someone from Eagle's Nest, from Gombe, from Chambogo. I am not speaker alone. Morphing, integration, that's what leadership is about. If I can't go into a place, let me send someone who can go there, as long as I get what I want, as long as I'm able to maintain Kampala as the model district.
Well, if at all such issues arise at the different schools in Kampala, according to the Constitution, we have a secretary who's responsible for school affairs. And it is prudent that as a speaker or any other person that is holding a position of power at DEC, you should be able to coordinate and work with the rest of the team. That is the only way you're going to have resolutions that are going to be able to harness the development and also the freedoms and rights of all students that we intend to serve. So, if at all the issue is about respect because you come from schools that are not well accredited, no, that shouldn't be the issue. The issue is about you as an individual. Are you able to utter out the right information? Are you able to have the dialogue that will see everyone listen to you, respect the position that you're having? Because if I become the right honorable speaker of the Kampala District Executive Committee, I will not be representing my school only. But now, I'll be representing the interests of all students of Kampala. With that effect, it means that I have the mandate to speak for, to mobilize for, to lobby for all the students in Kampala, irrespective of the school they come from, irrespective of how big they are, irrespective of how small they are. It is my mandate and responsibility to make sure that all students are heard and their issues are addressed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Clap for them. You can take your seats and then we can have the chairpersons. I would have requested chairpersons to come in pairs of 2, but because we want our consumers, or those who are watching us live, to actually compare all of you, I request that you come forward and then Mr. Kizito will ask you administrative questions and then the voters will judge. Thank you.
Thank you, the moderator. You know, my question is administrative because I have the experience. I know what I go through when I have the team of the executive. This question goes to all of you. We have very many schools in Kampala. Over 160 schools. We have those that are highly populated, but they don't subscribe according to their population. You as a chairperson, what will you do to improve that? To make sure that at least they subscribe 100% to their population. I will start with the one from Chambogo.
Thank you, Mr. Kizito, for the question. Now, there is one thing that we all know. Let me give a common scenario, for example, in business. There is service and then there is demand. The reason why these schools are not subscribing 100% of what is expected of them is simply because they cannot see the value of Students' Council or UNSA in their school. So for us to get to a point where they are willing to pay 100% of their subscription, we're going to have to enlighten them, to show them the benefit of UNSA, the Students' Council in school, where in a scenario whereby the school has a win situation and UNSA also realizes its objective. How are we going to do this? One, we're going to create programs, yes, where we can see the school students participate, because schools deal with publicity. They want to enhance and promote better education. If they can see that a body such as UNSA, whose motto is "We struggle for liberation," can advance academic interests, can advance talent, can advance or provide platform for students to grow, then they are definitely going to want to be a part of such an institution, because they are recognizing that this institution is adding value to their students, that this institution can take their students to a whole new level, that this institution is actually providing a platform for them to have a brighter future. When schools do recognize that an institution such as UNSA can better the general welfare of their students, then they are definitely going to pay 100%. And that is where I stand. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very good question. In my view, personally, I know a person gets what they want to hear. So we as UNSA, our motto is to struggle for liberation. And our aim is to unite all students in Uganda. But there are schools that won't listen. They will listen to what they want to listen. You explain to them that we struggle for liberation, we want to unite all students. UNSA is an organization in the Ministry of Education and Sports. So my own view, Muganga Ken is interested in negotiating with the government through the Ministry of Education and Sports to put and implement on those schools that subscribe to UNSA and put a specific date, most especially in at the beginning of second term, that all schools should subscribe to UNSA at this date, so that we can get the appropriate money we want in the right time for easy functioning of our activities. Thank you.
Well, as far as UNSA is concerned, I believe schools, there is no school that is perfect. Obviously, most of the schools are not going to listen. So you have to use all means to get the money out from them, either violence or what, I don't know. But I think the best way to get the money out of UNSA, maybe because it has leaders, the best way we can do that is to withdraw the center numbers until they pay the money. That can work out. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that interesting question, mind-blowing question. But to me, I think that you cannot milk a cow minus first feeding it. What do I mean? First, the leaders that we vote must show what is the use of the DEC, what is the importance of the DEC. Second of all, accountability. Does this money that UNSA moves from these different schools, is it accountable? Does it properly allocate the duties that it has done? Accountability and showing the works of the DEC. I think you have got what I've said. You cannot milk a cow minus feeding it. First, let's show the importance why UNSA is in existence. Let's first invest. For me, I have my cause of becoming the chairperson, but I cannot sit down and relax in divine minus campaigning. Let's first show the importance of UNSA by doing the rightful information. If it's information and publicity, let's try to do enough. Let's try to publicize the importance of UNSA. If it's about women affairs, let the secretary for women affairs try to visit different schools. Even if he doesn't visit all the schools, let him try to visit a few. If perhaps he can visit. Let's first show the work of let's first do the work that we are expected to do. Accountability. It will enable these other schools that would like to have not subscribed to UNSA dues to pick interest. I think I've tried to answer the question rightfully. I believe it. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, sir. I'd like to thank the chairperson, Students' Council, for Mariam High School for her point. But I believe that such a decision would be radical. When we are making decisions for UNSA, we are keeping its image and its objectives and the welfare of the students we serve at the forefront. If you resort to such a drastic measure of using force without having exhausted all the viable means, you're going to make UNSA appear as an oppressive body. And there will be a ripple effect. If schools see that UNSA is ready to use such radical measures without actually appropriate mechanisms in place, there is going to be significant resistance to UNSA. The best approach would be to sensitize, to expand more on the productivity or importance of UNSA, and thereby have a dialogue with schools which disagree or are refusing to pay. And within those discussions, they will table reasons as to why they are not willing to pay such subscriptions. If a consensus is not reached, that is when we can resort to such drastic measures. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable. My point was, there are schools that are not willing to listen. Once we withdraw the center numbers, there are high chances of the school paying, because that's the main reason as to why people are studying. They have to sit for the papers. Once they pay that, that's when the students sit for the papers. But once they don't pay, the students are not going to sit for the papers. And the money they are paying, it's for their own benefit. Yeah? So once they pay the money, they are going to benefit out of it. And everyone will benefit. That would be much better. Thank you.
Excuse me. I would like to make a supplement on such an important question. First, the DEC is such a sensitive and important institute. Okay, I call it a body that we must respect first and foremost. If in such circumstances we put people who are not serious at the DEC, we put people even who are going to come at the last hour to put on their nomination forms, and yet in our objectives and aims of UNSA is to create awareness of UNSA. They are not serious. People who are serious, I think we first consider at this moment we must first consider people who are serious about uplifting the awareness of UNSA, its objectives, because this is such a sensitive office that we cannot just give to someone at the last hour. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The question goes to Divine High School. For how long has UNSA been at your school?
UNSA came last year when I was in second term, senior 4. I had some inconveniences, so it has spent, okay, I would say it has spent one year and a half. But I'm concerned. I'm not here for Divine. I'm concerned about my students, because this is not. It's beyond students. It's a system that my kids, my wife is going to produce kids for me, and they are going to pass through it. So I'm concerned. I'm not just here for uplifting the status of Divine, uplifting the CV, my CV, because even my CV is enough for me. I work in Harris. It's enough for me. But I look in the sense that, okay, my student is going to pass in such a sensitive diameter. So if challenges continue going on, you ask me, Dad, if you were in Divine, you were the chairperson, what did you do? Yeah. So I'm not here for Divine. I'm here for the next generation, my students, and probably even your kids. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Why do you think he's at your school? Why do you think he's at your school?
Okay. The reason as to why the council is at our school, it's solving the day-to-day challenges that the students face. On what grounds? The students' leaders, the councillors, the chairpersons, the vice and the cabinet pass on these challenges, problems, the grievances that they are facing and they have different classes, because in some schools they call them class representatives. So it means that they are facing challenges. So it's there to solve problems and find beyond solving problems. It's finding a solution to these problems that they are facing. So it's, to me, such a question is beyond the Divine. It's at the Kampala.
I'm still on him. Thank you very much. Divine High School started when?
Divine High School, I'm not sure, but it has just changed. Mr. House was established in 2008.
2008.
But it was called St. Paul's.
Yes.
Then it transformed into Divine.
Thank you. We have what they call the Education Act. Do you have the Education Act at your school?
We don't have, but I've never seen. Okay. At Divine, there is no the Education Act. But as I was in someone's certain documents, I came across it, and to me at that time when I was in senior one, I did not find value in it, because the guy that had that Education Act, it's a constitution something.
Okay, thank you.
Is doing law.
Thank you. The candidate is contesting for chairperson and is saying the Education Act is useless. When you go through, we have a tool. It is called the Constitution. When you establish a school, the first tool you must have in office is the Education Act, which elaborates how the education system is supposed to be. So how comes you as a chairperson, you are not aware that your school, they have the Education Act, yet it is there?
How come?
Okay. To me, Mr. Chizito, I think we have diverted from the real cause of this debate. Let me first conclude. We have diverted from the real cause of this debate. Those are administrative issues, and I think if you want to engage more, get more, you can ask my patron. And to me, I want to answer that question. Thank you very much. I've not disrespected you, but for the essence of respecting our administration, I want to answer it.
Thank you. To all contestants, do you know the reason why I'm asking him a question? Very many questions. Do you know why? Me, I served as a chairperson of the Students' Council, and I was once a district speaker. There is nothing can deceive me from leadership. I'm trying to test him. So I've seen him, he's a bit short-tempered. No. That's a test. This goes to all the leaders. One day, they will call you in a certain office, and they want to test how you reason. So as leaders, let us try to be calm. When you're calm, it will help you to understand what the person is trying to say. Are we together? This question goes to St. Andrew Kagwa Gombe High School. Are you ready? Your school is among the last subscribing school. How will you do it to be among the first subscribing school? Because our work plan starts from December up to December the other year. How will you manage to run activities using money from other schools, yet your school has not yet subscribed?
Thank you, sir, for that nice question. As the chairperson of St. Andrew Kagwa Gombe High School, and I'm a leader who listens to the administrators and they also listen to me. The main objective of a leader,
the chairperson Chambogo College. We have ed teachers in Kampala. For them, when you go to their office, me I'm an administrator and the administrators, sometimes they don't give us attention. As a chairperson, if I give you the card, you're a student with your uniform. Once you reach there and they disrespect you, what will you do to that ed teacher?
For a head teacher to disrespect an envoy of an institution, there are probably two reasons. One, they do not recognize the significance, value, or impact of such an institution. And I believe in management, there are a series of ways we can advance a resolution. If a head teacher does turn me away from his office, I'm going to start with a preliminary measure. We're going to call him, sit on a round table, and try to iron out these issues. And if it is for all head teachers in the district, then I would suggest we initiate a forum where all head teachers sit and we discuss on issues pertaining UNSA, how relevant they are, how pivotal they are in advancing the academic career of students, their general well-being, or their future. Within these forums, head teachers will be enlightened of how important UNSA is. Therefore, I hope in such a mechanism, they will be able to recognize how important the presence of an envoy from such an institution is. But if there be incessant head teachers, those who are not willing to listen without any justified reasons, then disciplinary measures can be initiated as stipulated by a proper regulatory body, probably a disciplinary committee or a regulatory framework in the relevant docket, probably Ministry of Education and Sports. So I will vie for that. One, I will push for a forum which is going to sensitize these head teachers on how important it is for UNSA to be given attention within their schools. Second, we shall also talk to the relevant authorities or stakeholders, such as the ministry, to set up a framework on how to contend with such issues. Because if you ignore UNSA, you're ignoring an objective or initiative of the government to foster national development and democracy. So there must be action against that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I think that question was supposed to be to me. unfortunately it went to someone else. So I went to, okay, I don't know whether I should disclose the schools, but 2 headmasters chased me out of their office, and 1 headmistress also did the same. But you cannot, someone cannot answer such a question minus feeling the pain. I don't know whether you're getting it. Someone cannot feel the pain of biting someone's fingers minus someone being in that action. So for me, I know that pain. First, the works, the hard work must show why we are there. I think we have tried to do it. Even the schools that don't want to establish students' council in their schools have come now to realize that, okay, Mr. Chizuto, this is what he wanted to implement in our school. Okay, this is the reason why the students' council should be in existence. So they have realized this cause, they have realized the importance of the students' council under your works. I think I've tried to answer it. Your works, okay, you must not be put down. Continue with the journey, first of all. But your works must testify why you wanted that person to believe in you. Thank you. I want to disclose the schools.
Thank you. Another question goes to all of you.
The woman, the lady.
The lady, I have your question, don't worry. To all of you, by the time I was transferred from Greater Mukono to Kampala, I found only 8 schools with the students' councils. I started by mobilizing, distributing materials to all schools. We have stamps in our files, but some have refused to establish students' councils. You as the chairperson, what will you do to help me to go there? Because first of all, may I have more information about the organization than you? For you are just joining. Which new ideas do you have to make sure we sensitize these people to come on board?
If I'm the chairperson and you have sent me to a school, I think the best way to do that would be sensitizing the people about the importance of UNSA, because I believe human beings like so much things that have a lot of benefit. So when you tell them about the benefits of UNSA, I think there are high chances of them accepting the association inside their school, and it would be of great help to them.
Thank you for that question. So to me, probably, I believe if I'm in that office, what I can do to make sure that the students' councils are established in schools. Okay, you have talked about Mukono. I would first go with things that attract such students, students together with the administration to the council. What do I mean by that? Among the things that I intend to do, I intend to work on the issue of new curriculum, and I know I will not work I won't promise that I will do the best, but I know my voice will raise. First, challenges like the students' challenges that I look at the challenges that particular school is facing by consulting the student leaders, for example, the HP. Upon realizing these challenges that they are facing, it's when I bring things that could help to solve. For example, I went to school. It's a private school. A senior 3 class had only 3 physics textbooks. So you can imagine, and the government had sent to them. So what I can do in such a case, I would try to look out to the different government institutions, the concerned people, to see on how we can distribute more books in such a school, but under my name or under someone on the deck. When we are not working as individuals, but we are working under a council. Yeah, I don't know whether I'm trying to get it. Well, we're working under the council, but to show the good works to show how the council can help in solving challenges. I think in such a way it could help attract such administrators. It could help it could help students to get attracted to establishing such students' councils in their schools. Thank you very much.
Okay. To shed light on that question, I'm going to start by thanking the Ministry of Education and Sports for having enacted a policy which states that being a member or paying subscription to UNSA would be a prerequisite for a school to have its exams sat. Am I correct on that? Stationary, to be exact. Now, there are different ways on which we're going to have to enlighten these head teachers. For someone to embrace something, they must see its value. The reasons they shun UNSA in those schools is because they can't see its value. And I have a couple of ideas I'm cooking. Ideas that I believe are going to show them how important UNSA is. One, the new curriculum is a very interactive and dynamic curriculum. It actually takes on research, it takes on practical work. If a topic, of course in partnership with relevant bodies like NCDC, the Ministry of Education, can set up a topic about, let's say, national development or the welfare of a country or the importance of bodies such as UNSA, student bodies in the curriculum, a topic which is examinable, where students have to research on bodies which are impacting student welfare in school. That can actually show schools how important UNSA is, because being a context of study, they're going to have to appreciate it and integrate it in their systems. Second, all head teachers, as I'm well informed, have forums where they initially converge to discuss issues. Within those forums, I also request that there be representatives, delegates of UNSA, people who are going to advance the importance of this to these head teachers, because UNSA has a stakehold in our future, because it is advancing the development of a student, a boy, a girl, so that they can have a brighter future. If we have a representative in these forums and they air out how important UNSA is to students, then they are definitely going to consider it. Those are two options. Thirdly, I'm well informed UNSA has not been, I thank Mr. Chiso for the work done, but the publicification has not been enough. For people to see your work, you must publicize it, and that's how you're going to get recognized. I don't know about how the budget runs, but we have to run online campaigns. We have to do activities that are going to make UNSA more present. And as we carry out these activities, people are going to take note. Uganda National Students Association, respectively Kampala District Executive Committee, did a project such as this. You get? When we do such projects that are actually creating impact on the economy or in the community, we get to see the benefit of UNSA. For example, I hope that during our tenure as student leader...
Full question. First and foremost, I would like to thank you, the predecessors, the outgoing district executive committee, hoped by our dear coordinator, Mr. Kizito Isaac. It's a great work. If you found this city with only 12 schools or 13 schools, and there are now 128, that's a great work. But trust me, if I'm put into office, they're going to multiply by 5. One, Muganga Kenny is interested in bringing up activities that pull schools subscribe to UNSA. Which activities? UNSA has been organizing debates and the popular activities that you have been organizing. I have ideas. One, creating students' marathons, UNSA students' marathons. Creating UNSA football league or UNSA games in Kampala. There are many schools that want to participate in those games. Without student councils, you don't participate. You will see student councils being established in different schools, trust me. And more other activities if you put Muganga Kenny in the office. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know whether it is the last question. To all of you, this association, each student is supposed to pay 2,000. That 2,000, it is paid once in a year. 20% remain at school. 40% goes to the district. The remaining 40 goes to the national. We have a full year. How can you make sure as chairperson to make sure that every student can benefit in the 2000? Take for example a school like a Mengo Senior School. I always give an example of Mengo because it is the highest subscribing school in the whole country. How can you make sure that all students, the 60,000 students, can benefit in that 2,000? But remember, the 20% remain at school, 40% district, the remaining 40 goes to the national. And for us as Kampala, we don't have an upper hand on the account where the schools are putting the money they elect. We are supposed to beg and they give us our percentage. What if they refuse to give us the full 40%? What will you do as a chairperson?
Who is first? Oh, it's okay. Thank you so much for the wonderful question. Previously, because most schools have been subscribing to UNSA at the national accounts, and my worry is about the 20% that returns to schools. I've not got it at St. Andrew Kagwagombe High School, that 20%, though we pay last. But my main aim, Muganga Kenny is interested in getting the accountability. If we subscribe to the national accounts and NEC is dormant as it is, then we are going to change the, as a chairperson, together with my body, with the help of the coordinator, we change our guns to tell the head teachers and the schools to subscribe to the district accounts in order to continue operating smoothly. That's my main idea about it. Thank you.
Okay. One, before I proceed, I'd like to disagree with the predecessor. The reason why money or cash flow moves in a certain pattern is that it can be regulated effectively. We retain 20% at school level, 40% at the district, and another 40% at the national level. Because these appropriations are done so in such a manner that UNSA as a body in general can advance its objectives. If you withdraw funds from the topmost organ, where actually the structures are, the executive secretariat, how are the bodies beneath it going to run effectively? You will answer in time. So, withdrawing money from the topmost bodies is not a solution. There are better ways. Take, for example, you can create illustrative systems of accountability on how each of this money is spent. And actually, I'm in the know, and I don't think there is a school right now tabling financial reports on how much they spent or how they spent the 20% in their school. Okay? So back to my question. How are the 2,000? Can you answer? Okay. How can each student benefit from the 2,000 shillings that they've subscribed? Now, in the sense, we cannot do something that everyone is going to get this and that and that. But what we can do is we can create projects where everyone can benefit from it. Yes? Now, take for example, there are students who are gifted in certain fields, sports talent. There are people who are academic giants. Yes? There are people who are disabled, vulnerable. This money here is going to be apportioned to such people. And in a way, the school is benefiting because it is advancing the interest of a minority group. The school is bettering its students in a way. Yes, that is one of the ways people can benefit from these 2,000 shillings. Second, this money is going to be used to create initiatives, competitions, debates, sports, where all member schools who have subscribed take part. When you take part, of course, there are prizes, there is publicity. And once people are publicized, it opens up opportunity for such schools. Schools can even lobby more funding. In the interest of time, I think I submit.
Thank you so much for the worry you have about me. I want to put you in the know. I want to inform the previous speaker that, do you know that this year, all schools have been subscribed to the district accounts? Do you know it? Do you know that the district of Kampala has a large amount of the NEC? Do you know why NEC didn't organize the midterm council? Do you know why they are delaying to elect, or they are not doing any activities? Do you know why DEC is dormant? So take note that my idea about blocking the passage of that money to national accounts to the district accounts can run a smooth way for the district level to continue with our activities. Thank you.
One. Yes. Coordinators, for example, Mr. Chizito, are chosen or mandated by the topmost body. They are financed to execute their activities. If you withdraw finances from the topmost body, which is enacting these people, don't you think you're trying to cripple what is happening in every district? How are they going to be able to facilitate or run projects if they cannot receive finance? The reason the NEC or the topmost body needs finance is because they have great objectives which are going to advance the interests of students countrywide. Whereas for you as a district, you have objectives only internally for the district. So I don't think it would be wise to pull money from the topmost organ, but we can create a better way to regulate this money. What you should be talking about is ways in which this money can be regulated in a more efficient manner and used efficiently, not withdrawing finances from up.
I'll give you the lady first.
Well, I think that one of the best ways as to how students can benefit on that 2,000 they give for subscription, we might not know what the students are exactly interested in, but I think chairpersons of every school, it's better when you ensure them to at least put post box for the executive committee. And I believe most times when your schools are given post box at school, what they put inside is totally nonsense. But when someone comes with something important and has a suggestion, that thing can be put in the post box. And maybe if all schools that have submitted their post box with the information have brought it together and we read upon what exactly they want, what has the majority, it's what they make, it's what we carry out, that's the best way in which they will benefit, and that will be for only schools that have subscribed. As for the 40%, if at all it's not given in, I believe the UNSA constitution says there are very many ways in which cash inflows in the association. There are very many ways, not only subscription. There are donations and stuff. So what I know, most a human being is supposed to utilize. We won't say we are depending on only subscription. If 40% is not coming, then we shall relax. But then if the cash is not there, I think there are much better things that we can do without money. We can look for much more things that we can do up without money. Thank you.
To me, that's a very sensitive question that to someone who is very wise, who is concerned about finance, he can answer in just 5 minutes. It's such a sensitive question, and someone must think before answering it. Things concerning finance, me from a business perspective, someone is answering from a benefiting perspective. To me, in a business perspective, things relating to finance are very difficult. And to make sure that these 2,000, if each student benefits from it, it's something that you must critically think. You must not solve alone, me as just a chairperson, and I believe that 2 heads are more than 1. As you have asked what's my opinion on how this money can be shared, so that students can feel that the council is performing. Okay, that's how I've got it. To me, I would work with these two parties. Secretary for Finance, I would work with someone who has been in finance for a long period to make ends meet on such scenarios of making students benefit from their 2,000 that they pay to UNSA. So to me, it's a very sensitive question, and I cannot just answer it from 5 minutes. That's how I can respond to it.
Let me confirm.
You're going to speak for only 1 minute.
Okay, thank you.
We're out of time.
Thank you so much. I thank the Almighty God for giving us a wise coordinator, Mr. Kizito. That's why most people, when someone is wise, most people fight you. This man has been telling us every day. This man has been telling us every day to fight against people disturbing Kampala as a district. And we are ready. We are ready to fight against people who fight against us. So the main objective as to why I said we can block the passage is to continue. People who are not wise, like other coordinators, are subscribing to the national accounts, and that's why different districts are not functioning. But Kampala is functioning, and that's why we're preparing tomorrow, but 1, the annual General Council. Lastly, as I conclude, it's fine to have ability, but the ability to discover the ability in others is the real ability. We struggle for liberation, for God and my country.
The last question to the female contestant. You're worried? We have challenges in schools with girls. This challenge is coupling. As a chairperson, take for example, if you're a culprit of coupling and you are the chairperson, I'm just giving an example, and you have a friend who is also coupling, and for us, we need to fight coupling as DEC, but you're a culprit, you are the chairperson, what will you do?
Actually, I believe as the chairperson, I'm supposed to be exemplary, and so I can't do that. So the example is wrong.
So now, thank you so much. Ken concluded well. He gave his final words. I shall take the very last words from each of you. In a minute. Seems you're not ready. I'll then ask them the last question. I believe the tables were a bit overturned, and up to now, the candidate from Divine is still carrying the weight. For that reason, I'll ask a similar question, which will carry an equal weight for the remaining 3 candidates, minus Divine. He's in a protected time, unless he wants to answer it. So, the challenging question which took him to the pits of the earth was concerning the Educational Act. And all of you were glad that it was not pointed to you. Now, mine is this. What other constitutional and institutional frameworks are in Uganda to support student welfare? What other constitutional and institutional frameworks are in Uganda to support student welfare? The Education Act is just one of them, and it has given birth to UNSA. Which others has it given birth to? I shall start with Ken, and then you'll only bypass Divine. In a minute.
Okay, thank you so much. As a candidate for chairperson Kampala District, I thank the government for different ways to support our fellow students, including me, to have education. But, Right Honorable Speaker, I only knew that Education Act.
To me, I'm not sure, but I've ever found across the, please. Okay. I'm not sure, but you correct me. I've ever found I've ever found across a document that says that it's Children with Disabilities Act 2001. I don't know whether it's true.
I'd like to clarify before I give my answer. The question is, the 2008 Parliamentary Act, what other institutions has it given birth to? Is that the question?
No. What other constitutional and institutional frameworks exist to support student welfare, apart from the Education Act, which has given birth to UNSA?
The Education Act. Wow.
So, dear viewers, the candidates don't know the sister schools they will work with. And if any has the answer, we shall give them platform on the D-Day.
Thank you so much, our panelists or our candidates. And I'm very happy that you are courageous. You are inspiring, actually. To have a panel of these candidates is something so good. But my last question goes to the lady. Yes, feel free. Feel free. It is not hard. The Right Honorable Speaker has been asking very hard questions. Mine is just a simple one. Can you point out any 2 achievements of UNSA that are in existence? Okay, I wish you good luck. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Because they have to be aware.
Yes.
Oh. No.
Shall remember.
Okay. As far as I know, one achievement UNSA has tried to achieve is trying to bring up a policy in each school that students can come across, like their welfare. It has really helped them a lot because once the UNSA body has come up, it has helped students because they try to view out their ideas to the council and it's able to address them.
I also answer.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you clap hands for them?
Can you give a chance to the host chairperson? Let her do something.
Oh, okay, sure.
She'll have a question to answer.
Okay. Okay, host chairperson.
Will she choose to deputize and why?
Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm not disobeying you, but when I was mentored, I was told that you shouldn't always reveal the person you believe in.
So her last question is, if there should be anyone she will deputize, what idea should that person front?
Okay, to the chairpersons, if I'm to deputize you, what you should put first in everything are the people you're leading, not yourself. You should put the people you're leading first. For example, when Moses was chosen by God to lead God's children to the promised land, he always put the people first. So you should put your people first in the promised land and put your leg last from your enemy's land.
And a very most last, before I can pass on the mic. You see, one of the contestants for chairpersonship is a lady. According to the UNSA constitution, if the lady goes through, that is a direct disqualification of a female vice chairperson. Are we in order to assume that you're praying for the lady not to make it?
Right, Honorable Speaker, what I can say is that leadership comes from God. We are all leaders here today because of God's grace. So if God will choose the female chairperson on that day, then she's the right person to be our chairperson.
So the constitution is unfair.
Thank you. I think they can sit.
Make a line, or yeah. Collaborate with him to make UNSA make greater strides. And to the rest of the members, Mr. Bumali, thank you for coming and for asking, checking the intellect of these candidates. Otherwise, our final thanks go to our hosts, Rubiri, it is Rubiri or Chibuli? Rubiri Secondary School for hosting the debate, and if they had not really honored the request we had that they host us, probably we could have gone to another school and maybe would not have taken this mineral water or something. So we are glad that when we requested to have it here, they honored our request. Having said that, I'll request that the contestant for, you want to be the vice chairperson? You give us a closing prayer. I heard you talk about Moses.
Before prayer.
Okay. Okay, sure. Before the prayer, our district coordinator has some key communication to put across, and then we shall have that. Thank you.
Thank you. It's just a simple message to all the candidates that are contesting. One, try to control your temper. This is politics. Those, take for example, St. Andrew Kagwagombe. You have a population of how many students? We have students from schools. You will approach girls of Nabisunsa, and somebody will say something. You abuse. That voter will not support you. So run out to control your temper. Two, leadership, it is not a war. After you going through and your opponent failed to go through, please, we don't groom leaders, we groom future leaders of this nation, not mafias. Don't again open a war on your opponent. Last year, I can give you an example of last year. There is a candidate who contested and he failed to go through. Then he opened up a war on our chairperson. Up to now, he can even get, he requested for my number from different people. He can even come into my inbox and start abusing me. I said, okay, I will handle that. You are not the first students leader that I've worked with. Lastly, in the whole country, Uganda, get it well. In the whole country, Uganda, are you getting it well? You have the best performing coordinator in this country. If you use me, I will use you. You disorganize me, I will keep quiet. I'll be like a dog. You know, a dog can go to get meat from the neighbor's place. You get a stick and beat. That dog will wait for you, visiting the home where it comes from. Then the dog will attack you. Are we together? Just know you are coming to serve the students. And me, my work is to implement your programs. I know very many offices that I can push you. This one is saying government. Government is not a tree that after going through you will find it there in the compound. Government, you have to hunt for these people. If you're a student, even if you go to State House and you knock, they will say, you are from which district? Kampala. They will just call it Chizito. There is a student here from Kampala. Most of those officers, they don't want to deal with the students without the administrators. So be very careful. Know where you are supposed to report, what you are supposed to report, and when are you reporting it, and to which office. You are the chairperson and you just give a call to the commissioner. We subscribe, but the coordinator is just enjoying our money. The day I will give you a receipt book and an invoice book, I will instruct you to start with your school. And I will task you within 1 week, I need the money. Because some of you don't know the words that are used in your head teacher's offices to subscribe. So let us, in case of anything, consult. Me, I've been in leadership for so long. I've been a student's leader in this association. I've been a national leader for this association. So there is nothing you can deceive me. So let us consult. In case of any challenge, you have patrons. Go to the patron. If you're elected as a chairperson, don't look at the patron as somebody who is nothing. If you will come and you have a challenge at your school, and you are reporting it to me, I know where to report. I will first call your patron. I have these students telling me this and this. What can we do? Because I know your position is temporary. After 1 year, you will go away, but I will need the patron and the head teacher. There is no way you can turn against the administrators. So as we get to this position, just know we are still under the school rules and regulations. 2, on your results, there is no way they will rate that this has been the best performing chairperson. But you need to go to the university, get your oranges, and you will see whether you will go to the university. Are we together? I'm so happy with the Mariam High, with the uniform. It was a struggle last year to push Mariam High to the wall to establish a students' council. But now I can see my work. You will see another school. My struggle was to make sure at least the girls' school can come on board. But you should clap for that girl to stand for that position. There is another school called the Rubaga Girls. They are coming to run what is there. So you will see them next year confirming for position. So all that is my effort. If other districts they are appreciating, what about you? Because other districts they are appreciating. So far we have carried out 4 DEC meetings. Our last DEC meeting was in the State House. For you, the regime that is coming in, my dream and my struggle is to take you to the parliament, and you saw how they run the parliamentary sessions. If you disorganize me, I will take you to the village council. With those few remarks, allow me to end there. I wish you success for the candidates. I know you have a lot of pressure. Be calm. Everything has its beginning and its end. As leaders, we should first think first. Then we take an action. The girl child, don't get scared. You will see them in suits on Friday. Mobara is you a politician. Politics starts with you. We need to see you in parliament. And that's the day I'll be giving at least a recommendation that we were with her one day in Kampala. By the way, even me, I have a dream of going to parliament. I need to go to parliament with you people. You never know I can contest for speakership in parliament. You will be my voters. Thank you. I wish you well. Journey masses to your schools. Send my greetings to the school administrators. We struggle for liberation, but as a patriot, for God and my country. Thank you.
Now, for an announcement before she prays, the nomination forms have been sent to all your head teachers. I've also forwarded some to the numbers that are here. For schools which registered more than one number, I sent to only one. So it's imperative you find out which of those contacts the nomination form went to. However, since your leaders, the chairpersons and the speakers, and among the people you're putting first are the incoming DEC members, I'm giving you a simple task of circulating these contacts, this form, to all the contestants in the spheres you know, okay? Let them know about them. Some of you have secret coalitions, yes, drop it there. Let them know that if that nomination form should even have one blank space, that is going to be an automatic disqualification of them. With that, we struggle for liberation.
Let's humble ourselves and pray. Almighty Father, we thank you for the gift of life, for the hours of joy you've given us today. We appreciate everything that you've provided to us. Lord, we thank you for giving us a very hardworking coordinator, the lion we have in the district of Kampala. We pray that as we're going back home, guide us, protect everyone who is here, and even on the D-Day, that's Friday, we pray that all the contestants pass through, and for those who won't pass through, they can understand, because you can be a leader no matter the position you're on. As we struggle for liberation, in Jesus' name I've prayed.
She has told Jesus our motto. So, Janice, greetings to you. And keep time on Friday. Keep time, people, especially chairpersons and speakers.